Alright, as you can see, I got that backer up there. You're going to have some gaps. It doesn't really matter if there's tiny gaps. This tongue and groove is going to hold it together, or drywall, that gap is fine. So that's up there. Took a straight edge or level, put it up there. Make sure it's going to sit flush. That way you're not surfing the wave down your room with your tongue and groove. Now let's get started on the tongue and groove. Out of reach for the city lines. What is going on, you guys? It's Steven with Break Free Homestead. Today we are going to start putting our tongue and groove up on this ceiling. It's going to look pretty darn sweet. Let's get right to it. Alright guys, so I just went and picked up our tongue and groove. It's almost a 7-inch face. There's the flat side, and then there's like a finished side, or a fancy side is what I'm going to call it. I'm not using that fancy side, we're just going flat and simple. The first layer there is going to be this back, and so basically what I'm going to do real fast is just rip this off with a circular saw. You don't really have to, it's only 1/4 of an inch, and if you're going to put quarter round or something like that, it shouldn't really matter. Alright, so I got my first piece ripped off. Gonna measure the first piece to make sure it lands on our joist. Hey, look at me, man, what I've become. I've been running east, looking for a sunset, digging deep since '99. What I thought was gone was sitting in my pocket in plain sight all along. I think it's time for me to go, burn all bridges. All I know, I got lost along the way, fell between the foam, pulling stitches. Time to let go, so come what may. Don't look before you leave. What you give, you get to keep. So long, farewell, bye-bye. Let's have a toast for those lost old lives. And my crooked little heart that seems so rebellious is falling apart right now. I'm bleeding an easy kill, gonna leave it all behind. I think it's time for me to go burn all. If this helped you out at all, please drop down below, hit that like and subscribe button. Really helps the channel out as we grow. Alright, so last night we were working on this, got to a pretty good point, and we hit our light that we're tucking up in there. And basically we had no more light for the night, so call it a day. We're gonna be working with no light, just the natural light from the window here. So that's all tucked up in there. Keep knocking this out. We're about halfway done. So this would be nice to have this done. I got lost along the way, fell between the fold, pulling stitches. Time to let go, so come what may. majority of the ceiling is done in here. We're about 3 boards shy over here. I estimated this with 20% extra. We went with the 3 alternating staggers down here on the joists. You could go more, you can go less. That's what we just went with, and 3 boards short. Not too bad. Not finished it up today, have to go down and grab some more, but we're gonna move on to the floors. Make sure you check that out over here, doing the whole thing. All right guys, so I'm not sure how well you can see this. Lighting's kind of bad in here, but all this was wired before this was up. Obviously, we're not trying to wire. Good luck. Good luck. Okay, so I wrote down where my wires are gonna be for my 4 lights. We're just doing some wafer lights, LED on a dimmer. It's gonna be super nice in here. Be able to dim it down, make it perfect. All right, so traced out our template here. We just went ahead and drilled a small hole in there just so we can fit our jigsaw through there. And we're gonna get this thing cut out real fast. Not really worried about it cutting the insulation. This is just an interior wall, so let's get to it. In theory, our wire should be right there, so. And this is the end of the run, so there's only 1 wire, all the other ones have 2. And that's it, let's get these wired up. All right guys, we just popped in that last piece up there. So this is all done. The ceiling, I think, came out quite nice. We have one last step. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put some shoe mold. You can use a 1/4 round of shoe mold just to finish it off, because it's not gonna be perfect up against the wall. And this will just give it a little bit more finished look. It'll be nearly impossible to do this without some type of trim around there. So let's get to it, get that done. We can start doing all the other woodworking, the casing. This shelf here for the basement, baseboards, door, the whole thing. Let's get to it. It's the 4th of July party today, so we're doing it right. All right guys, first step we did was we're switching out from our 16 gauge to our 18 gauge nailer, just because we're shooting up tiny little pieces of trim. You could even go with like a 23 if you have it. I don't have a 23. This is gonna do fine. Everything, all the trim you need to do, you could probably do it with this. But where we're holding the tongue and groove up there, you could probably get away with 18, but we did 16 just to give it a little more oomph. All right, so I just went ahead and cut 3 of our molding pieces. Now this room is about 14 feet, I think. So these are 12-foot pieces, so we're gonna have to splice it together. I went ahead and cut our corners at a 45. A few cuts out of the way, then we'll measure it off and see what we have to do. So let me get to it real fast. This actually came out a lot closer than I thought. Freaking like 4 inches right there. It would have been nice to do a whole piece, but it'll be okay. I just left them at a 90 where we're gonna connect. There's such a small piece and I don't think it'll be an issue. So let's keep going. All right guys, I ran into my first issue when putting the shoe mold up. I had placed this piece here and then totally forgot that I'm putting trim here. So we're just putting a pine board there to finish this off, which would move our miter cut back. So had to pull that down. Gonna have to recut it a little bit shorter. Luckily it's shorter, we can use the same piece. But I'm gonna take a break real fast, get this board in so we can finish this shoe mold. All right, you guys, this turned out pretty darn nice here. Super happy with it. Gives it a nice look over a typical drywall ceiling. If this helped you guys out at all, please drop down below, hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel out, and we'd love to grow with you.